What's up, everybody? Bucks here, and I'm bringing something to you that a lot of you have asked for, a lot of you requested, and that is sharing my knowledge of banking the throwing knife with you guys. Real quick about this gameplay. I picked this gameplay. It's a team deathmatch game because it's long. It's long. It's boring. Nothing as exciting is going on, and that's perfect because I want you guys to not focus on the gameplay, but to focus on what I have to tell you, because this stuff is important if you want to be good and successful at banking a throwing knife. Now, I'm going to hit on a couple categories on what first. First one, I'm going to go over the different type of banks. Then I will go over the different types of elements that you will bank stuff off of. All right. So first off, we'll get into it. The different types of banks. Now, listen, a bank shot to me is I hold bank shots to a very high standard just because I've been doing it for a long time and I just have such a passion for it and I love it. So a bank shot to me, this is how I define a bank shot. Something that is planned, it's accurate, it takes skill and creativity. See, a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, I just threw this random throwing knife and it banked off a wall and it killed somebody, so I got a pretty cool bank shot." No, dude, that's not a fucking bank shot, all right? It makes you lucky, and it makes you a douchebag for doing that. Okay, that's not a bank shot. To me, that's not. That's my personal opinion. All right, that's all I'm saying. Okay, so we're gonna get into the 4 different type of bank shots. First one is your simple wall bank. Basically, you just throw it off a wall and hit somebody and bank them. Second is the ceiling bank. Bank it off the ceiling, come straight down and hit somebody, kills them. Third is the floor bank, or any type of bank that you bank it straight down. And then the 5th is the overhead bank, where you basically bank it off a wall and the knife goes up over your head. Now the first one, the wall bank, I like to call it the horizontal bank, is basically just throw it off a wall, it banks off the wall, and it'll go off to the side and it'll kill somebody. One thing you have to know, when you bank that throwing knife off a wall, as soon as it hits that wall, it loses momentum and it starts going down, and it goes down fast. Okay? So my advice, if you're going for a wall bank, that's somebody that's parallel to you, or even a little bit above you, aim high on that wall. Aim up high, because as soon as you hit it, like I said, it's going to start going down. Now, the good thing about aiming high is, because the good thing about the throwing knife is it's a one-hit kill. From head to toe, it's a one-hit kill no matter where it hits them. So that gives you basically, like I said, from head to toe to kill this person. So the higher that you aim gives you a better chance of killing that person, because the lower that you aim is going to give you a lesser chance of killing that person, because basically you're going from waist to toes to kill the person. And what's better, going from head to toes or from waist to toe? You get it? And so you have a better percentage of killing this person. So basically, wall banks, aim high, know your angles. I'm telling you right now, the angle that you hit the throwing knife off of, it's going to come off the wall the same angle. If you're used to a tomahawk, it didn't do that. When you threw a tomahawk off a wall, if say you threw a tomahawk at a wall at about a 45-degree angle, it wouldn't come off at a 45-degree angle. It'll come off probably about like a 35 or 30-degree angle. You lose angle when you throw a tomahawk off a wall. That's just how it is. Throwing knife doesn't do that. The angle that you throw it at is the same angle that it will come off of. This is very important to know. Okay? Now we'll get into the ceiling banks. Now this is what I just told you right now. When it comes to ceiling banks, that goes all out the window. All out the window. Ceiling banks, when you throw a throwing knife off a ceiling, it comes down at a sharper angle that you threw it at. So if you're going for a bank shot on somebody that's a ceiling bank, you kind of want to, you really have to get these angles down right, because as soon as that hits that ceiling, let's say you throw it at the ceiling at like we'll say a 45-degree angle again, it's not going to come off at 45-degree angle. It's going to come off sharper. It's going to come off at like a 55-degree angle or almost a 60-degree angle. So that's also really good to know too. Trust me, when you'll try these things and you'll know what I'm talking about. Now the number 3 one is the the floor bank. These ones are fairly the simpler ones of the banks. just basically throw it off the ground and it'll bank onto somebody. But you gotta understand that the sharper the angle that you throw it at the ground, the higher it's going to bounce. So if you throw it, but you can't, it's a throwing knife. You can't throw it straight down. It'll stick in the ground. So you have to know what degree of angle you can throw it at the ground to make sure that it'll bank off of. Okay, but remember, the sharper the angle, the higher the bounce you're going to get. So if there's somebody laying down, kind of, we'll say maybe about 10 feet away, you're going to have to lessen that angle up to make sure that it lands on him instead of going over his head. Now, another thing about when you're banking it off the ground or you're throwing a downward bank, if you bank it off of a windowsill or like a I guess like a platform, you can actually sharpen up your angle a little more without it sticking into it. For some reason, it does this, and I don't know why, but that's a good thing. So if you're banking it off of a windowsill off the ground, you can actually throw it at a pretty sharp angle, and it'll still get a good bounce. And that's a good thing because the sharper the angle, the higher it's going to go, and the less distance it's going to go too. But remember this: when you're banking off something off the ground, or even the overhead banks, the lesser the angle, the farther it's going to go. The sharper the angle, the shorter it's going to go. Like with the overhead banks. Now this is another thing that you guys need to know. Like I just said, the sharper the angle that you throw these throwing knives at. So if you're going for an overhead bank and you're banking off a wall, you basically have about. Let me look at my protractor here real quick. Hold on one second. Let me load this thing up. Basically, okay, so we'll say 90 degrees, you're staring at the wall. That's straight ahead at the wall. 0 degrees is straight up in the air. So basically you have from 90 degrees till about, we'll say about 75, almost 70 degrees to where the knife is going to stick into the wall. Anything past that from 70 to 0 degrees, you're going to get a good bank off of. Now, you have to determine on how sharp of angle that's going to be to determine on how far that throwing knife is going to go over your head. Like I said, the sharper the angle, the farther it's going to go back. The lesser the angle, the shorter it's going to fall. This is for you to play with and determine on, to see where your enemy's at, know how sharp this angle is going to have to be or how dull the angle is going to have to be to get that knife to land in the right spot. And I'm telling you, when it comes to bank shots, you have to be dead accurate. Very accurate. You have to be. Otherwise, you're going to miss. The knife's going to stick. It doesn't bounce and roll like a tomahawk. I'm telling you. If you think you're good at tomahawks, you're good at banking tomahawks, and you think you're going to be badass at throwing knife, you're in for a rude awakening. Shut up! So, anyways, that's the overhead bank. You know your angles. Like I said, from about 75 to 90 degrees, the throwing knife is going to stick into the concrete, wall, wood, whatever you're throwing up. But here's another thing. Elements, concrete, steel, wood, hard packed dirt. These are all the things that you're going to be banking throwing knives off of. Steel and concrete almost have the same type of properties, except for one difference. Steel, you can actually sharpen up your angle at least by 5 degrees to where the throwing knife will not stick into it. Concrete, you're going to have to play by those rules, man. 90 degrees to 75 degrees, almost 70 degrees, it's going to stick into the wall. Steel, you can actually sharpen up that degree almost by 5 degrees. You can sharpen it up and you'll still get a good bank. That's good. Steel is really good to bank stuff off of because that way it gives you more to play with. It gives you a little more room for making mistakes. Wood is bad. I mean, you're definitely going to get a good bounce off of wood. It's not going to be as hard or as sharp as it would off of steel or concrete. And your angle is basically, you can't have too sharp of an angle because it will stick. Just letting you guys know, it will stick into wood with a sharper angle. And dirt, what can I say? It's dirt. I mean, it's gonna bounce, but it's not gonna bounce far. I mean, it's not. You're not gonna be able to get much good of a bank off of it. So, anyways, that's it. That's pretty much all I can really sum up. Within the 9 minutes, there's still so much for me to talk about, but I kind of just wanted to get just the basics of how to bank it, and so you guys kind of have a little bit of understanding to know. And the only thing I could really tell you guys is practice, practice, practice. You have to practice when you're in public matches or whatever. Just start banking it off of everything you can find. You'll get a feel for it. You'll get it. that's one thing that I have, and certain other people out there, they have something that I call that we get it. It's kind of like being in the zone, but always in the zone, where you just have a feeling for it and you know what to expect once that throwing knife comes off that object. You know it. And another couple of things, just be confident. You know, every time you throw that throwing knife, you know, just think, hey, a bullseye is going to pop up on the screen, because you have to be relaxed and you have to stay calm, but you have to be quick on your toes and you have to be quick thinking. And three things that you have to know when it comes to banking knives: you have to be determined about it, you have to be patient about it, and you have to be creative about it. You really have to think outside the box to bank throwing knives. So, anyways, just a couple key things right there. Make sure you guys, just take it all in. If you have any questions, put it in the comment box. I'll be more than happy to answer any of these questions. You can also hit me up on Twitter, at bucks_sugarfree. Oh, always hit me up, ask me questions, whatever you guys want to know, man. I'm here for you, and I'm here to, like I said, I'm here to share my knowledge with you, and that's what I want to do. I mean, I want people to be good at this stuff, and I want people to enjoy this stuff, and it's really fun, and I want people to have the same passion that I do for this stuff. So, anyways, thanks a lot for listening. I really appreciate you guys, coming here and giving me 11, almost 12 minutes of your time, and I really hope that you learned something from this. Anyways, that's it. Class is out. School's out for summer!